and we forget about the promise. When God gave us the promise, we was all excited about it, but we've went through some wilderness. How many's went through some wilderness? We remember what the promise of God was, but because we've went through some wilderness, we just took the first thing that looked good. Come on.
Yep, we've done that. Yep, we've all done that.
So Moses ends up, he gets a little perturbed at first, but he ends up striking an agreement with the leaders of the tribe of Reuben, Gad, and half of the tribe of Manasseh. Look what it says in Numbers. But they approached Moses and said, "We simply want to build pens for our livestock and fortified towns for our wives and children. Then we will arm ourselves and lead our fellow Israelites into battle until we have brought them safely into their land. Meanwhile, our families will stay in the fortified towns we build here, so they will be safe from any attacks by the local people. And we will not return to our homes until all the people of Israel have received their portions of land. But we do not claim any of the land on the other side of Jordan. We would rather live here on the east side and accept this as our grant of land." Now, if you just read this for the surface, it sounds good. It sounds like, hey, we're giving you all the promises. We're going to go ahead and accept this land. We're going to come over and we're going to bring those that know how to fight. We're going to fight for you. It sounds good. Hold on. It sounds good when you're trying to help a Christian out that's kind of wavering on this side of Jordan, and you're saying, "No, come on, come with me. No, I'm settling here because I don't want to interfere with..." Come on, how many has ever heard excuses like that? "I'm willing to settle here because it sounds good," but little did they know, and I told them last week, these three tribes paid a high penalty for settling on the wrong side of Jordan. They were left completely out of the history books, and they were left completely out of the genealogical records because they did not follow the complete voice of God. They took what they saw first, and it fed their flesh. And they said, "This is good enough, Moses. We'll help you get your land, but then we're coming back over. We'll cross over and help you get the promise, but then we're coming back over. We'll come to you Sunday morning and help you have church, but then on Monday we're coming back to what looks good on my flesh. We'll come back over here on Wednesday when it looks good and I'll help you worship, but then come Thursday I'm coming back over here where my flocks and my family are."
Amen.
Some of us been doing some hopscotching.
Come on.
So there's about 20 in here. Y'all should be shouting, saying, "I've already got this breakthrough under the blood. It's going." Yes, Pastor Amika, you are not speaking to me this morning. Three tribes hopscotching back and forth across the Jordan River. Never once was the promise, "Let me take you out of Egypt and I'll give you this land that your fathers give you on this side." It was never that. It was, if you cross over even further, every place that your foot treads upon. Isn't that what he told Joshua? Every place that your foot treads upon, I'm going to give you that. And even if there's giants in the land, don't worry about the giants. All you got to do is walk. But these three tribes were giving up what they could see. And they couldn't give it up what they could see, because they heard about fortified cities. They heard about giants. Come on. Let me give you some little nuggets here that I gave them last week. Because of their choice to stay on the wrong side of the Jordan, they have subsequently been lost to the whole history of Israel. Because they missed it. Because they missed the shift. They missed what God wanted to fully do in them. They couldn't see it at the time. They couldn't see it at the time, but God wanted to do something awesome within their men and within their tribe, but they couldn't see it at the time, and so they missed it. And I'm here to tell you this morning, you may not see it right now, but don't miss it. Don't be content where you're at and you end up missing it. Look what happens here. Reuben, this gentleman Reuben, who was the firstborn son of Israel. Israel was Jacob. Reuben was his firstborn son. The man, Reuben, lost his birthright to Joseph because he ended up sleeping with his father's concubine. And so because of that, he lost his birthright to one of the younger sons, the man did. And he's not even listed in the genealogical records as the firstborn son, only in the Bible. If you get to the chronological parts, he's not even listed. He lost the birthright because of his disobedience to his father. The tribe Reuben lost. They should have been the first ones because of the son being the firstborn. They should have been the most powerful tribe, and they lost that to the tribe of Judah. Why? Because they settled for the first thing they saw rather than going over. So then the second tribe that we see here that Moses lists is a group called Manasseh. It's a half a tribe. The tribe was so big they split it in half. This tribe was eventually conquered, and they stayed on the east side of the Jordan. They were eventually conquered by the Assyrian army and exiled, leading to their loss in history. And if you look up the name Manasseh, it actually means to forget or easily forgotten. And if you find out about the tribes, the men in this tribe, you can't trace their genealogical records too far because they were forgotten about. Why? Because they've seen what they could grab now, and they said, I can't see in the future in the spirit, so I'm going to settle here because it'll feed my flocks and it'll feed my families. But they were easily forgotten. This third one that we find out about, this tribe called Gad, the only reminder or the only way we see them even in the New Testament is at a place called the Gadarenes, where the demonic people dwell. The only time you can ever find Jesus ever mentioning this tribe is when, if you remember, Jesus and his disciples are on this side. They cross over the Sea of Galilee, right? The Sea of Galilee actually ends up running into the River Jordan. They connect. So Jesus is on this side preaching the gospel. And him and his 12 disciples cross back over the Jordan or the Sea of Galilee. They end up in a place called the Gadarenes, which is the descendants of the tribe of Gad. When they were coming out with Moses, they didn't want a deliverer. When Jesus comes back, they don't want a deliverer. Because they have gotten to the place in their self where they were comfortable living next to tombs.
Yes, that's true.
They were comfortable living next to demonic people. As long as the demonic people don't interfere with me, I won't interfere with you, and we'll just get along together.
That's right. Come on. Come on.
If you read in Matthew, it says that there was actually two demonics. It says two demonic men came running toward Jesus. Right. So if a lot of times we think there was only one legion, but I believe that there was many demonic people living in this place. Jesus casts out the demons. The demons go into the herd of swine, which belonged to the Gadarenes, and they threw an uproar, saying, "Come, look what they've done." Now get this, this is before Christ died, right? So all the Levitical laws should have been in existence, amen? They should have never had swine in the first place. Because everything you ever do will always start somewhere with some compromise. You think, well, some swine ain't going to hurt me. They were told never to touch it. They were Jewish people. They were told never to touch the swine. They become swine herders.
That's right.
Where did it start? Long time ago. When some men said, "This is good enough." Little did they know generations later that their ancestry would be herdmen of swine, being okay with living by tombs or dead things. Come on. Because now they don't have enough power in them to even keep swine away. It's okay for them to live by dead things. And when you accept to live by dead things, then demonic things rise up out of dead things. Y'all are quiet.
Come on.
When you start to compromise, come on, and start touching unclean things,
Right. Come on.
because swine were unclean to Jewish people. If you read in the history now in the New Testament, the land that they once possessed that should have been theirs now is was still called the Gadarenes, but they had been taken over so many times they didn't even know what to name it. That's why you read in the Gospels why there's several different names of this particular land. And if you read about the land, it says it was majority owned by Gentiles. They were Jews, but it was owned by Gentiles. Because when you settle for less than what God has for you,